Welcome to the In Love with PMDD podcast. I am your host, Dr. Rose Alcaton, your PMDD relationship psychotraumatologist. I help you stop the monthly PMDD breakups. I have personally been suffering with PMDD for over 19 years, and I published my dissertation directly towards the relationship experiences of partners of individuals who are suffering with PMDD. So although I have premenstrual dysphoric disorder, which is an approximately 1 in 20 women, makes you want to break up with your partner every single month right before your period, I also provide services and counseling services and programs specifically designed for partners for what they are going through with being in a relationship with someone who struggles with PMDD. There are so many aspects that affect PMDD relationships, whether it's PMDD rage, whether it's intrusive thoughts, whether it's just you not getting your needs met in your PMDD relationship and feeling like breaking up is your only option. I am here every single week to give you my signature trauma transformational tools that are going to help you and your PMDD partner to get through all of the stress that is going on in your PMDD relationship. And if this is something that you know that you need help with, then you need to join the PMDD Power Couples Group Counseling Membership. This is when we meet every single week. We go over what is specifically going on in your PMDD relationship, and you'll get a chance to get my customized PMDD counseling transformational tools. And then also, if you need a private session for you and your partner, you can go to inlovewithpmdd.com and get those PMDD relationship reset sessions. This is where I have private sessions with you every single week, every single month. We're checking in, we're mapping out your PMDD relationship. So let's get into today's episode. Let's talk breakups. Today, we're going to be talking all about PMDD breakups. And there really is this misconception that the PMDD monthly breakups are something that is inevitable. Everybody has said within their PMDD relationship, when you're suffering with premenstrual dysphoric disorder, that you want to break up. And that means that you literally want to break up. But what I want to let you know is there's a difference between a PMDD monthly breakup and then an actual permanent breakup when you're in a PMDD relationship. And I've had both, and I'm going to talk to you today about signs of what it looks like when you're headed for a permanent breakup. I've had, the PMDD monthly breakups, and then I've had permanent ones where the relationship has ended. We have not gotten back together. We haven't reconciled. And I think a lot of times you get desensitized to hearing the word breakup in your PMDD relationship because every single month you're hearing it. So it's kind of like, maybe we should break up. Maybe we should break up. And you don't really break up, but you're consistently hearing it. So then when someone says it and they're serious, you kind of get to that point where you don't even recognize it. There's been so many times where I have been in relationships where I end it or the other person ends it. It's happened to me too. I kind of was caught off guard because I'm like, oh my gosh, you've mentioned breaking up before, but we haven't actually broken up. And now this time you were serious. Like, how was I supposed to know that you were serious? And then even I've been in relationships where I've just been like, enough is enough. I can't take this. Like when I said I want to break up, like I don't mean because I'm in my luteal phase and I'm experiencing all of these triggers and my PMDD brain is telling me to break up. Like I genuinely feel like I want to break up. And what I recognized was the other person was shocked. They were like, what do you mean we're breaking up? Like, you really want to break up? Or they were like saying, yeah, we should, because the ego comes in. You say you want to break up. They say they want to break up. Yeah. And then they try to contact you the next day like it's business as usual. So who's picking up the kids or what are we going to have for dinner? And you're pretty much like, no, I said we're done. And they act so shocked because it's been desensitized. They're so used to hearing it. They never actually thought that you were actually going to break up with them. That's why it never caused them to have this sense of changed behavior. A lot of times when you're saying that you want to break up with your partner, it's because you want them to see how serious the issues in your relationship are. And you want them to feel like, oh my gosh, in order for me to keep this person and be with this person, I need to change things about me. Like I need to change. And it's not about that. You know what I mean? It's really not about threatening to break up with your partner so that they can change. Because honestly, if they were going to change, they would change whether you threaten breaking up or not. If they were scared to lose you, if they were genuinely scared to lose you, they would change the actions that are causing damage in your PMDD relationship. And I'm going to repeat that because that's something that I really had to come to terms with in a lot of relationships I've been in while having premenstrual dysphoric disorder for over 19 years now. If someone really wants to be with you, if they genuinely value you, if they want to be in the relationship, if they fear losing you, they're going to do what it takes to stay within the relationship, to keep you, because they feel that you're adding value to their life. It's not just enough to say, I love you. You can love a lot of people that don't necessarily end up in your life. I've loved people and let them go. I don't not love any of the exes that I have. Do I always like the behaviors that they've shown me? Do I like the way that they've treated me? Do I like things that have happened in our relationship? Probably not. That's why the relationship didn't last, but I don't love them any less because I've chosen not to be with them, but that doesn't mean that we're going to be together. So I think a lot of times you're assuming my partner says that they love me, so we're always going to be together. That's not the case. When someone is done, and I know this from counseling hundreds of PMDD sufferers and PMDD partners, when they are done, they are done. And there's nothing that you can do to change their mind. There's nothing that you can say. There's no counseling appointment that you can book at that time. And so I know that about me. I know that's a characteristic about me, is that I will work with you and work with you and work with you and give you the signs. Meaning, if I'm in a relationship with you and I realize that there's an issue, I'm not expecting a relationship to be perfect. I know that there's going to be issues in the relationship. I know there's going to be conflict. I know there's going to be misunderstandings. Like, we're two different people trying to merge our lives as one. Like, it's not going to be like this, fairy tale romance. Like, I know we're going to come to a point where we have to kind of like work through things. And I will use my tools and I will work with you and I will have open communication and I will be vulnerable with you and I will share my heart. Like, that's one thing about me when I'm in a relationship. I don't care if it's for a day or a year or 3 years or 5 years or 10 years. I'm giving you all of me. And I'm saying that with caution because when I was working with my dating coach and then a lot of other people, even friends, they're just like, that's not the way you're supposed to do it. Like, you're supposed to like trickle it in, like show them that you're a little bit interested. And then you give them all of you and let them earn you and all these things. And I have a problem with that, with having the mentality that someone has to earn my love, earn access to me. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying, for me, I don't want anyone to feel like they have to work for my love, because I think when you set the precedence that someone has to work for your love, then when they stop working, they're thinking that they're not deserving of your love. My love doesn't come at a cost, which again, I'm never saying that this is the right way to be as far as like how I am. I'm just being really open with you on how I operate in relationships. I don't make you earn anything. I think love is freely given, love is freely taken away. And that's how I operate. I will freely give you my love until you show me that that it's not safe for me to do that. When you show me that it's not safe for me to love you, I will take it back. But as long as you're showing me that it's safe and it's healthy for me to love you, I'm going to love all of you. I'm going to love you. I'm going to pour into you. I'm going to forgive you. I'm going to do all these things. But when it comes to the point that it's damaging me, like I won't survive it, then yeah, I will freely let it go. Is it going to hurt me? Absolutely. And I think even when it comes to dating, because I have my best friends and they're like, sometimes when you're dating someone, and you're only dating them for like a month or 2 months or 3 months or 4 months, they're like, why does this bother you so much? It's only been a month, or good thing it's only been a month, or it's only been 2 months, or it's only been 3 months. And I'm like, I've given this person access to me, access to my heart, access to my schedule and my time, which I find is very valuable. So what you may think is no big deal is a big deal for me, which is why I have to use my own tools so often to really process everything that's going on in my PMDD relationships, because I do give my all. Could I breadcrumb people and give them like a little bit of me one step at a time? Like, yeah, I could do that, but that's not authentic to my personality. That's what I learned. And everything that I've learned about dating and everything that I've learned about relationships and everything I've learned about my own experience, I have to stay true to who I am. And true to who I am is I love with my whole heart. I give with my whole heart. If you're my client, you know that I am there for you. When I'm in your corner and we're working together, like I am invested in you and your health and your partner's health and the both of you and your PMDD relationship, like the whole thing. I've been on so many vacations, work events, and stop what I was doing for my clients because I love you that much. When I like say it at the end of podcasts, I don't just say it because it's like a cute tagline. It's like, I really genuinely love you. You suffer with PMDD. You suffer in a PMDD relationship. You're in a PMDD relationship. I love you. I see you. I know that I can help you because I have been where you have been in every phase of a PMDD relationship. I've been where it's been really great. I've been when it's been really horrible. I've been on the side of we broke up. I've been on the side where we've reconciled and got back together. Like I've been in all the phases. And so I feel like when you are a practitioner, when you're a doctor, whatever it is that you're doing, when you have been where your client has been, when you have been where your patient has been, there's a deeper connection versus you just treating someone that's coming in and it's like, oh, I just want counseling to just work through my emotions and I just want to like figure out how some tools and things like that's one thing. Like cognitively, like we're smart people if we're doctors. Like we had to prove that to a bunch of people. But that doesn't mean that you really know what the person's going through. So that's why I say when you're choosing a therapist, when you're choosing a counselor, when you're choosing a psychologist to be with you on your journey in your PMDD relationship, it has to be someone that has suffered with PMDD because they need to know what it really feels like to suffer in your luteal phase, in your follicular phase, and your ovulation phase. Like they need to know what it's like to be with a partner, want to break up, and then you don't want to break up. And then you're trying to figure out, do I really think that we're compatible? Like you don't need to spend your time and your bandwidth explaining that to someone. They just need to know. And there's not a lot of individuals that have gone through that process and have chosen to be on this journey of helping other people because it takes a lot out of you. It really, really does. But what I will say is I want to share with you today about what it looks like when you are headed for a permanent PMDD breakup. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because I don't want you to take for granted the fact that your partner is mentioning breaking up. I have made that mistake before where I have thought, oh, they don't really mean it. If they were going to leave, they would have left by now. Like I didn't think that they were being serious. And I've been in situations where partners that I've had haven't thought that I was being serious when I said that I want to break up. They're just like, okay. So the first sign that you are headed for a permanent PMDD breakup, meaning you're not getting back together, you're not reconciling, you're splitting the kids, you're splitting the dog, you're doing all the things where your whole life is going to be broken up. And I think I've gone through this process so many times. And I remember I used to be like, why do I keep going through all of these situations? But I stopped asking that question because I honestly believe had I not gone through all of the relationships that I've been through, had I not gone through all the breakups that I've been through, I wouldn't be able to relate to my clients in the way that I do. Like I always tell you, the tools that I teach you are customized to PMDD relationships. It's not something that I was taught in a book. There is no book. There is no book to teach what I teach you every single week on this podcast. And so the first sign, and this is from experience, that you are headed into a permanent PMDD breakup is there's no hope. Hope is lost. Hopelessness is one of the first signs of suicidal ideations for PMDD partners. If you've read my dissertation, which is 160 pages of 6 years of work that has to do with PMDD relationships, hopelessness. And my dissertation was completely dedicated to the partners of individuals who are suffering with premenstrual dysphoric disorder. And hopelessness was the number one cause of them feeling like they wanted to commit suicide while they were in a PMDD relationship. They lost hope that their relationship was going to get better. They lost hope that they were going to feel differently. I think it's the hopelessness comes from genuinely loving the person that you're in a relationship with while you're in this PMDD relationship, but also knowing that it's not working. And when you get to this place of hopelessness, you're so close to breaking up permanently because you've been through the cycle. That's the next sign. You keep breaking up and nothing ever changes. Every single month, you're going through the breakup. So this is what's different from the PMDD monthly breakup is that if the same issues come up every single month, but neither of you are taking the steps to grow, to heal, to repair, when you don't repair the damage that has been done and you're continuously doing damage, something's going to break. It's kind of like when you have a whole bunch of things in a grocery bag and you're trying to add more things to it and add more things to it and you're using the handles to hold it up. And you ever seen with plastic the way the handles get really thin once it's starting to wear away? One day you're going to put one more thing into your grocery bag and it's going to break because it's not strong enough to handle all of the things that you've been putting into it without taking something out. If you ever gone to a grocery store and they're bagging your groceries for you and they're putting the cans in there and they're putting other things in there, when it gets too heavy, when they feel like it's going to be too heavy, they get another bag because they're like, you're not going to be able to carry this. This is the same thing that happens in your relationship. When you go through months and months and months and you're putting triggers and trauma into the bag and you go to walk away with it, one or two things is going to happen. You're going to get so deflated from trying to hold it. You're going to feel so overwhelmed from trying to hold everything in the bag that you're going to let the bag go and the bag is going to drop, meaning the relationship is going to end, or you're going to be carrying it and you're going to have a strong handle on all of the issues and the bag itself is going to, from the bottom, it's going to break. Your PMDD relationship is not meant to handle months and months and months of trauma and triggers that haven't been resolved. This is why I say if you're in a PMDD relationship, you need to be in counseling. You need to be in therapy on a monthly basis. When I was in my PMDD relationship, when I was married, I literally had sessions with my partner every single week where we talked about things, and there was always stuff that came up. It was either stuff that came up with him or stuff that came up with me. We would not have survived as long as we did without having those sessions. So when individuals are telling me that they're kind of like trying to DIY it, like do it yourself, like just trying to have these conversations by yourself without having someone that has strategic tools that are able to just moderate it, that's able to just step in the middle, that is not in the relationship, and really just make sure that you're talking about the things that you need to talk about in a safe environment, creating that safe space, but then also giving you the tools as to what you can do about it, where you walk away and there is hope and there is some resolution to the things that you're going through. If you don't have that, your relationship is going to break. So that's how you know that you're headed for a permanent PMDD breakup. Whenever I've had a permanent PMDD breakup, meaning we've actually broken up, it's not a monthly thing. It's been because we have had so many issues in the grocery bag that it's just, we had gone so long that there was no resolution to where we couldn't go on. It was too heavy. It was too heavy to carry. And you can feel the heaviness. You feel the heaviness, your partner feels the heaviness. And it's something where you're like, I can't do this anymore. And you don't even mean it like, I feel like you get to a point where you're angry and you're upset. But when there's like a peaceful, I can't do this anymore, that's when you know that it's really headed for a permanent PMDD breakup because you're not even trying to fight anymore. You're not trying to argue anymore. So drained emotionally from the ups and downs that you're just like, you know what? If you want to break up, that's fine. I remember being in this situation where I was so drained. I was like, this is not going to work. And my partner at the time was like, this is your fault and you did this and this and this. And I didn't even care. I was willing to be the villain. I was willing to be the bad guy. I was just like, just get me out of here. You can say it's all my fault. You can say that I'm the bad guy, that I did this. I know my truth. I know the core and who I am. And that's where you kind of have to get into your routines where you're reminding yourself of who you are, regardless of what your partner's saying about you, because you can get roped into that where you're trying to prove yourself to your partner. But honestly, if your partner is seeing you in a negative light and they're wanting to break up with you because they're seeing you in this negative light and they think you're a monster, or they think you're manipulative, or they think you're a narcissist, or whatever they think, they're not going to change their mind because you start yelling at them and cursing at them and trying to prove yourself to them. You're probably going to make them feel even more justified in how they feel about you. Like, so I was like, you think this about me? Okay. Like, they were surprised at how calm I was with just letting the relationship go. It was so draining. I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I don't want to fight with you. I didn't even have any negative feelings. That's how I know that I was done. because three of the things that I say that I don't want to take into like out when I break up is no bitterness, no resentment, and no unforgiveness. And when I get to that point of peace, when I've done the work within myself, like while we're still together, because you can literally emotionally, cognitively break up with someone while you're still together. I've done that before, and I didn't even know that that was a thing where everybody was like, oh, you got over it so well. It's like, I've been breaking up for years. I've been breaking up in my mind. I've been coming to terms with this is not going to work. This is not going to work. Another sign is you don't feel safe being vulnerable. When you don't feel safe in and out of PMDD, when you're in PMDD and you're in your luteal phase and you start to hide how you're really feeling, you feel like you can't even tell your partner the suffering that you're going through. You're feeling unsafe, you're feeling judged, you're feeling dismissed, you're feeling rejected when you're in PMDD and when you're not in PMDD. That means the foundation of your relationship is broken. You don't have any intimacy. When you don't have any intimacy, you don't have any vulnerability, your relationship is going to end. Or you're going to stay in a shell of a relationship that you want to, create this facade. And maybe you want to say, oh, I'm going to stay for the kids. The kids can feel you being disconnected. The kids can feel you not being in love. Being in love is very important when it comes to being in a PMDD relationship where there's children involved. It's not just about being together. That old thing where it's like, we've been together for years. Yeah, but are you in love? Are you showing love? Are you showing your child what loving people look like? If you're not, then what are you showing them? What two disconnected people look like? And then guess what? They're going to get in a relationship and go be with someone where they're equally as disconnected. How is that pouring into them? Just being together is never enough for a child. Just having two parents in the household is never enough if you're not genuinely showing them what a relationship should be, which it should have genuine love, affection, attention, validation. Those are the tools that you're supposed to be teaching your child. But if you're showing them fighting, if you're showing them disconnection, if you're showing them going through the motions, if you're showing them that you're just there just to be there, is that what you would want for them? And I always say this when it comes to my daughter, like, would I want her to be in a relationship that I am tolerating right now, that I am in right now? When I'm suffering and you kind of get in that mode where it's like, I don't want to go through another breakup. I don't want to put them through this. I'm just going to stay here. But do I want her to mirror this relationship? Do I want her to have the same experience? If I'm genuinely suffering and I'm modeling to her what suffering looks like, it's a good chance because she's in her formative years as a child that she's going to mirror that. And I'm going to have to live with that. So I really think that every relationship that I've had since I've been a mom, when it's ended, that has been the biggest reason. That has been the turning point for me. If I feel like I'm not providing a healthy example to my daughter, I'm not going to continue in the relationship just because I don't want her to grow up one day and she be in this relationship and she's trying to figure out why she's tolerating abuse or why she's tolerating behavior that is less than what she deserves. And I'm sitting there telling her, you need to leave, you need to get out of that, you deserve better. And she looks at me and she says, but mommy, you were in a relationship like that and you stayed. They're downloading not what you're saying. Children don't genuinely download the things that you say. They download the things that you do. They download what they see you do, what they see you tolerate, what they see you don't tolerate. And that's why I haven't really shielded any of my, as my daughter's been older, she's 16 or she's going to be 16 in September. And we're now in May going into June. And I haven't shielded a lot of the breakups with her because I want her to understand what it really looks like. They haven't been ugly, but I've had to process them. But, that's kind of one of the benefits of having me as a mom is that I'm going to like walk you through it. Right. I would rather her see what it is that I've had to go through to make sure that I stay true to who I am and process and have real emotions. Have real emotions. I went through a breakup and I had a person tell me, don't cry. I don't want you to cry. Like you shouldn't cry. Like almost like it was a sign of weakness for me to cry after a breakup. And I literally was like, I'm human. I'm a human. I have human emotions. I have premenstrual dysphoric disorder. I'm not going to pretend When you hear all of these people playing games with dating and relationships and, oh, just act like it doesn't bother you and completely just detach from it and just act like whatever. No, if I am genuinely hurt, I'm going to take the time to process it. I'm going to take a day, I'm going to take an hour, I'm going to take however long it takes to process it and cry because that's showing me that it's real. That's allowing me to feel what I need to feel. And a lot of times when you're going through breakups, when you really get to the end, part of you may feel like you need to like hold it all in or act strong. When someone says, oh, you're so strong, I'm not always strong. I am not always strong. I have moments where I'm strong. I have moments where I have to be strong, but I have moments where I feel weak. I have moments where I feel emotional. I have moments where I feel broken, and I'm honoring those moments and I'm holding space for those moments. And I'm never going to put myself or be connected with someone who makes me feel like I can't have moments of emotions, of feeling weak in that moment. It's okay. It's okay to go through the emotions. If you feel broken right now, if you're in your luteal phase or not in your luteal phase and you're feeling like you're listening to this and you're like, Dr. Rose, I am in that place where I'm close to breaking up and I feel like it's going to be a permanent breakup. I mourned a lot of my breakups. I cried about a lot of my breakups before I actually broke up because I knew it. It was like every day that went by, every argument that went by, it was just chipping away. It was like adding to it. It was confirming what I knew was happening. And I tried to fight it a lot of times. I tried to not break up. I tried to convince myself that I was okay. I told myself a story that made me stay in situations that I knew were going to end. I was delaying the inevitable. I knew it was going to end, but I was not in a place where I felt like I could handle it. So I went back one more time. I went back one more time. And so the next sign that you're in this spiral is you get to this point where you're just like, you're constantly apologizing. Like nothing you do is good enough. I was burning myself out in relationships, doing everything that I knew to do, overcompensating, just wanting them to confirm with me, validate me that what I was doing was enough to stay in the relationship. But if I kept saying sorry for how I was in my luteal phase, if I kept saying sorry for being triggered by them, if I kept saying sorry for just being me, they would consistently say things about me that they didn't like. And I would apologize and be like, I'm going to do better. I'm going to do better. They didn't want to be with me. When someone starts to criticize you and tear you apart enough times, you get to this point where you're like, you don't really want to be with me. You don't really like me. You may love me, but you don't like me. You don't really want to be with me. You're kind of tearing me down. You're telling me that I'm too much, or you're telling me that I'm not enough. And so you as the person that is being told this, you might try to shrink to stay in the relationship that's not right for you. I've done that and it's been the biggest mistake because I've lost out on time that I will never get back. And it's made the ending more painful than it needed to be. I have tried to, you know, I will say that when you're in a relationship with someone and they're not happy with themselves, and I'll do a completely different episode on this, when they're not happy with themselves, they will make you feel like you need to shrink in order to be with them. They will make you feel like you need to not talk about how great your life is or not talk about how good you feel because they may have lost their job or they may be struggling with their own mental health or they may be having struggles with feeling fulfilled and they just don't know why. A lot of times, sometimes people, your partners, they need to go to therapy. They need to go to counseling to really deal with their own stuff. And I'm not going to go on this tangent because that's a completely different episode, but I've been in a lot of situations where I've been on counseling sessions and the partner is talking to me or the person that's suffering with PMDD is talking to me. And I'm like, this actually has nothing to do with PMDD, but it has everything to do with you being happy with your life. And you're not happy right now. And you're like throwing that on the relationship. Like your relationship is never going to be good if you're not good with yourself. And so what can happen when you're in those situations is your partner blames everything on PMDD. They're not happy with themselves. And so they're turning it all on PMDD. And so if your partner starts to use PMDD to dismiss all of your concerns that you have in your relationship that are valid concerns, or refuses to acknowledge PMDD at all, they're not working with you. They're working against your reality. So you're genuinely saying that you have these issues in your relationship and you're wanting to work through them. And they're saying, oh, we only have relationships because you have PMDD. And a lot of times, again, I'm a PMDD psychologist. Like, I have clients that all have PMDD. I have clients that have just genuine trauma as well. But not everything has to do with PMDD. This side know that you're going through a permanent breakup, because premenstrual dysphoric disorder is not going anywhere. If you're waiting for PMDD to go to somewhere, if you're feeling like in order for my relationships to be better, that I have to get rid of PMDD, your relationship is going to end if that's what you're waiting on. If that's what it's going to take for your relationship to survive, you're going to be in a permanent PMDD breakup. Because I need to be in a relationship where I can have premenstrual dysphoric disorder and be in the relationship. I don't need to get rid of my PMDD in order for me to be in a relationship. That's unrealistic. You want me to change what's going on chemically, cognitively in my body and my mind in order for our relationship to work. Everybody's not meant to be a PMDD partner. Again, another podcast I'll do. Everybody's not meant to be a PMDD partner. It's not a matter of you being strong. It's not a matter of you being so what you have to have emotional intelligence, which is why I created the program. My partner has PMDD. Now what? It is giving you all the tools on how you need to be when you're in a relationship with someone who has PMDD. So if your partner has not taken that course, before you break up with them, if you're feeling like you want to break up with them, have them take that course. Have them take the course, so that they can develop the tools, get the tools on how to be a supportive PMDD partner, because it doesn't come naturally. It doesn't come easily. It doesn't come like you just wake up one day and you really want to be with someone who has PMDD and that's enough. It's never enough. That's never going to be enough. You know that from history of months and months and months of you having the PMDD fight. And so the next sign that you're just really in this place where you're headed for a permanent breakup, where it's just about to be over, is your relationship is making your PMDD symptoms worse. If you don't feel like you're in a safe place, if you feel like you're under constant stress, constant anxiety, constant emotional roller coasters, it's unhealthy and it intensifies PMDD. And this is the same thing for the partners. If you feel like you're walking on eggshells and there's nothing that you can do right, and your partner is constantly nagging you and telling you, you need to do this, you need to do this to be a supportive PMDD partner, you're never going to be good enough for them. You can go through all the things and you're never going to be good enough for them. And as the partner who is suffering with PMDD, you can use all the tools and it's never going to be good enough for them. They're going to be wanting you to be a different version of yourself. Not everyone is meant to be in a PMDD relationship. They're just not. Does it mean that they're a bad person? No. It just means that they're not meant to be in a PMDD relationship. They're not equipped with it, because it's something where you have to consciously decide. It's an identity that you have to take on. For me, knowing that I have premenstrual dysphoric disorder and I want to be in a relationship, I have to be a version that is a PMDD partner, even as the one that's suffering with PMDD. I have to do certain routines. I have to do certain actions. I have to not do certain actions because I know I have premenstrual dysphoric disorder. That's on me. If I decide to stop doing my PMDD partner's morning routine and evening routine and checking in with myself, if I decide to stop doing that, I will make someone's life a living hell. I know that. I know that. I've done it. Before I learned the tools, before I developed the tools, I know that I can destroy someone's life by being connected with them because I have premenstrual dysphoric disorder and not managing my symptoms. So if you have a partner that's not willing to do the work, they're not emotionally vulnerable, they're not willing to sit with hard emotions. That's people say that you need to be strong and you need to be strong. No, it's not about being strong. It's about being vulnerable. I don't want you to be strong. I used to feel like I needed a strong PMDD partner. I don't want a strong PMDD partner. A lot of times when you think strong, that's literally someone that is masking their real emotions and they get burnt out. And so they can mask it, they can ignore it, they can dismiss it. But one day it's going to come out, and it's going to come out one or two ways. They're going to shut down on you, stonewall you, where they're completely shutting down emotionally, where they're completely numb and you're pouring your emotions out and they're going to shut down, or they are going to lash out at you because they finally can't take it anymore. And they're going to say all the things that they've been wanting to say and all this whole time. And they're finally going to say it. And you're just going to be like, where did this come from? It came from where it's been. It's been inside of them that whole time. And so I don't want to be with someone that is strong emotionally. I want to be with someone who is vulnerable, who is open, who is flexible, who is reliable, who is consistent. These are things with someone that's working on themselves, honestly. This doesn't come naturally for a lot of people. It doesn't. I don't expect it to. So like when you say, oh, I don't have a supportive PMDD partner, well, have they started to do the work on themselves to be a supportive PMDD partner? Have they done that? I have a lot of private clients that are partners, and I'm just strategically working on them with being self-aware, with not trying to fix their partner, with working through a lot of things that are coming up for them, a lot of their triggers. And this is ongoing things. It's not a one-stop shop. And I think that's the misconception. It's like one counseling session and not when we're going to be cured and I'm going to be cured and we're going to be great. This is why I have my monthly clients. This is not going to be fixed in a month. You didn't end up where you are in your PMDD relationship in a month. So why do you feel like it can be fixed in a month? You have to be willing to consistently invest your time, your resources in this is something that's valuable to me. I'm going to work on this. And I know for a fact what you really care about, you invest in. For me, for example, I care about my health. I invest heavily in my health. I spend a lot of money. I spend a lot of time in making sure that I'm healthy, mainly for myself, for how I feel, for everyone that I pour into, for my daughter. If I am unhealthy, it is directly going to impact my daughter. It's directly going to impact my clients. It's directly going to impact everyone that I'm connected to. So I don't have the luxury of not investing in myself or stop investing in myself. Does it come times where it gets to be like, oh my gosh, this is a lot as far as investing is concerned? Like right now, I'm working with, excuse me, I'm working with allergies. I'm working with two. I was working with one I'm working with two psychotherapists, two for two separate areas of my life. And I always have my business mentor that I invest in every single month. Like I do a lot of investing in myself. I don't expect it to be free. I value their time, I value their energy, and I put my investments where it's important to me. It's the same thing if I sent my daughter to a camp. That's one of the things I used to do when she was like, she's 16 now, she's going to be 60. I keep saying she's 16. But one of the things that I used to do when she was, I would say up until the age of 14, I would always send her to summer camps. And there would be different summer camps based off of the interests that she had. Sometimes she was in art, so I would send her to art summer camps. We went backpacking through Europe. We went to Barcelona. We went to Denmark. We went to London. We went to all of these places because she was really into art. And I wanted to just, pour into her for her to have those experiences. And it was not cheap. It was an investment, but it was an investment on her future and her present. Not just for where she's going, but where for the phase of life that she was in. I don't care if she never, like, she still does her art and she draws and sketches and does all her things. But even if she never did art again, just me supporting her for the phase of life that she in was enough for me. Did I had to sacrifice certain things so that she could have that experience? Absolutely. The same thing in relationships. When I'm in a relationship, my level of investing is high. I'm investing my time, my money, my energy. I'm making sure if anything comes up in our relationship, if we're dating or we're in a committed relationship, if anything comes up, I'm in a place where I'm willing to do the work, invest in individuals that can help me. Like I told you, I hired my dating coach and all the things. And when things started to come up for me, I hired someone for my childhood trauma when that starts to come up for me. Like I am investing in the things that matter to me because where you put your investments shows what matters for you. If you're in this place where you're just expecting to just have all the answers just freely given to you, it's not realistic. You're going to end up in the same cycle because you're trying to do it yourself. There's a lot of things that I've gone through in my PMDD relationships where before it's ended, like I haven't been in certain places and I had to get, counseling or mentorship from people that have been where I've been and they've made it on the other side. But when you know that you've stopped talking about the future, that was one of the biggest things for me. When you stop talking about things that you're going to do in the future, holidays, plans, when you no longer imagine a life with this person or you don't have any shared goals or even next month's date nights, like you're not even doing date nights anymore. You're just like, oh, I'm tired or whatever. Detachment has started to happen. And when I've been in that place where I've detached, like I said, while I'm still in the relationship. Your partner may have been in that point. I remember, oh my gosh, I was in this relationship and we used to cuddle every night. And he was like one of the best cuddlers ever. I remember even when we first started dating, I could just like fall asleep. Like we did this like spooning thing, but it was like a spooning thing where I would like put my back towards him. He would put his leg over my leg and then he would put his arm was like under my neck and then put his other arm around me. And I would just like fall asleep. And it was the most peaceful sleep that I have ever had. And that was one of the things where I was like, oh my gosh, I feel so at peace. I feel so safe with this person. We first started dating and we were in a relationship for over 2 years. And I remember one night I went to bed. We lived together at the time. We were engaged. And I went to go take a shower and I got into bed and his back was turned towards me. And then I got in the bed and my back was turned towards him. And it's like a light bulb went off. And I was like, oh my gosh, like we're we're not we're not good. And what I was basically saying is whatever connected us, like that physical touch, that cuddling, that connection, that all of the feelings of being safe, I was like, we're not good. And he was like, we haven't been good. And literally we were broken up and I was moved out within a month because we gotten to the point where we weren't the same person anymore. I wasn't the same person anymore. I wasn't coming home waiting to see him. I was kind of like dreading it. I was trying to do other things, run errands or do other things, talk on the phone with my friends and blah, blah, blah. And I didn't want to come home. And I wasn't the same person in a good way. He wasn't the same person. And I couldn't blame it. I felt like I completely lost myself. That part of me that was like so happy go lucky, like good vibes only, it was gone. And so, yes, PMDD can cause mood shifts, but my relationship had literally stripped me of my confidence, my joy, every single month, my self-worth. That is one of the biggest things that I will say when you start to feel insecure, and I'm laughing because that's a telltale sign. And whenever I'm in a relationship and I start to question things, because I'm not an insecure person and I have no reason to be insecure. I have a lot of things. I'm not an egotistical person. I'm not like a narcissist where I'm just like bragging on all of my accomplishments and stuff. But I think sometimes when you get in relationships that make you start to question yourself, you minimize who you are and what you bring to the table. And you don't feel like when I say you don't feel like yourself, you don't feel like you are who you are. Like you don't feel like you're worthy of love. You don't feel like you're a great person, like you're a great catch. Like I had to go down the list with one of my breakups when I was dating because it really messed with my self-worth. When I was married, like it always messes with your self-worth because you're like, dang, who would walk away from this? Like, I must be horrible. And that was linked to my childhood trauma because, I had parents. When you have parents that give you up, like I was given up to foster care. For those of you who don't know my story, I was put in foster care at the age of 3. I was adopted at the age of 5. I was verbally and physically abused in my adopted home from the age of 5 to 17 when I was kicked out. And so I have this traumatic childhood where someone didn't choose me. They kind of like threw me away. Like, oh, I see you. I know what you are. I know who you are. I know what you bring to the table. And I don't want you at my table. Like it was very blatant, very, you can't miss it. And so when you get into a relationship and someone is willing to just walk away from you, you start to think there's something wrong with you. Like, wow, I must not be that great. And I always go back to that point when someone is willing to break up or they're willing to let the relationship go, because I always give the warnings. I'm always like, hey, like kind of like letting them know, like, this is not a monthly PMDD breakup. This is like a real thing. Like, we're actually going to break up. Because when I break up, and I'm not going to be with you, it looks completely different. I had one of my best friends, she told me, she's like, the problem is the reason why they act so confused when you actually break up with them is because you put them on this pedestal and you're in this place of being totally connected with them. And then when they literally show you that they want to break up, they're throwing you away or they're treating you less than what you deserve, and something in your brain clicks, you just cut everything off. And I was like, I do that. I will stay so connected with you, so open, so vulnerable. But when you literally throw me in the trash emotionally, when you literally mistreat me to the point where I tell you, hey, this is really hurting me, blah, 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 like we need to work on this. And you're literally like, I'm not working on that. Like you're the problem. Or you tell me, we shouldn't do this and blah, blah, blah. And then one day I get to a point where it's like, this is a permanent breakup. Like we're going to be on the same cycle for years and years and years. Like nothing's going to change. Nothing changes if nothing changes. And I completely cut it off. And what that looks like is I go no contact. I block your number because I know me. If I'm connected with you and I love you, I adore you, I cherish you. If you call me, I'm going to answer. If you text me, I'm going to answer. I do the blocking, not as a malicious way. Like I'm not mad at the person. I'm actually doing it to not, give them hope, to let them know that we're completely done. What it looks like for me doesn't have to mean what it looks like for you, but this is the steps that I have to take. I have to completely detach and I cut off contact and I just work on myself and I work on my emotions and how this ended, how we got here. Like I process everything, but I cannot process everything while I'm still connected with you, while I'm still going through the same routines that we go through, saying good morning, saying good night. But like people were like, people I was dating with like, oh, we could still talk and have coffee or we can still go and be friends. No, I can't do that because I'm a very black and white person when it comes to that. We're either together or we're not. I'm not gonna do the gray area because it's not helpful for you. It's not helpful for the other person because if I love you and I'm attracted to you and I'm attracted to your presence and I want to spend time with you, I can't go back to like, oh, I'm just gonna be friends with you. Like, no, I'm gonna want if I spend time with you, I'm gonna want to be with you. Like that's duh. Like I wanted to be with you for a reason that hasn't gone anywhere. I don't hate you. I don't dislike you. I don't want like I'm not in that place. So I have to detach for my own purposes. And so when I've decided that enough is enough, it's not gonna work. We're not texting, we're not talking and I'm taking time to process. And one of the things that I don't want you to do, which I have done a lot of times before when I've gotten to this point where I knew the relationship was going to end and I've gotten towards that ending point, is you're only still together because you're afraid of leaving. I did this. I was guilty of this. My partner was guilty of it too. And it's not a bad thing, but it's like you break up and then it feels so bad. It feels so bad, especially in your luteal phase when your emotions are higher, especially for the partner that doesn't have PMDD, where you go through like certain times of the month where you would do certain things together and routines and you hurry up and fix it. You hurry up and fix it and you go back, you say, I love you, I miss you, all of the things. And the main reason that you're staying is fear of being alone, fear of the unknown, fear of having to start over. That's not a foundation for having a good relationship, a good PMDD relationship. That's survival mode. That's because you don't want to go through the motions of processing what it's like to not be with this person. And I know what that feels like because I'm a very routine person. I'm pretty much like, if we say good morning every morning, I want to continue to say good morning every morning. Like if I feel like something in my routine is going to change, it impacts me emotionally. Like I'm still going to want to like be with you. I'm still going to want to like do the things that we do. If we went here every week, like I would sometimes go back, accept whatever apology, do whatever, just because I didn't want to live with the feeling of not having that person in my life. And that was very selfish. So when I had to do the final breakup, it's like I can't be selfish and keep this person in my life just because I don't want to live without them. And so if you're noticing these signs in your PMDD relationship, what I want you to know is that you need to work on your relationship sooner than you think you do. Like, don't take for granted the fact that you are mentioning PMDD breakups every single month, the fact that you're mentioning stress and anxiety and all these things, and you're just assuming that your partner is just supposed to stay there and take it. No, No, I didn't expect that of individuals that I was with, and I don't expect that of me. Now, if we're actively working on our relationship, if we're in a place where we're using the tools and we're trying to get there and we keep slipping back, and but that's understandable because you're working towards a goal and it's not always going to be perfect. But if we're not doing anything and we're just expecting things to be different, it's not going to work. You're going to have a permanent breakup and you're going to be shocked. The times that I've had someone break up with me and it's been completely final and I didn't expect it, I was mortified. It hurt so much worse because I just wasn't expecting it. And I thought I had some kind of pull and push, like control. And once somebody has decided enough is enough, there's nothing you can say. There's nothing you can do because I know that's how it is for me. And I try not to get to that point, and I will like literally warn and be like, please, like we need to work on this because I know once I'm done, I'm done. I'm not gonna play with my emotions anymore because I value myself. I genuinely do. I know what it is that I bring to the table, as they say. I know what it is that I deserve. I know what it is that I desire, more importantly. I know the kind of life that I want to live. And when you get really clear on the kind of life that you want to live, then you'll stop living a life that's less than what you deserve. If you know that you want to live a life that is way up here and you're living a life that's way down here and no one is telling you that you're ever going to get there and you're feeling like you just need to settle in whatever, settling will make you so bitter, so resentful, and you will get older. Time will go on, and you will look back on your life and you will be mad not only at your partner, bitter and resentful towards your partner, you'll be mad at yourself. You'll be like, how did I allow myself to go through this for so long? I've done that a lot of times in relationships where I've looked back at the time that I've spent. And you know how they say, like, some relationships, like, these hard times made you better and blah, blah, blah. Like, no, I went through a lot of things and I was like, why? Like, there was no real purpose in it. Like I knew that it should have ended way earlier than it did. And I stayed in a relationship because I was scared of leaving because I had become so codependent on this person, but not because I genuinely loved the person, thought it was going to work and all these things. Like I knew it was going to end because of certain things that were happening, certain situations. And I get that a lot of times when you're in PMDD relationships, you get to a point where you're in certain circumstances and you wouldn't know that this person is not meant for you until you've gone through the situation. So it's not a matter of regretting staying with them. It's a matter of when you get to a point and your partner is showing you certain things, like they're just, this is what I know is a permanent breakup. When I understand that what I'm needing is they don't have it. I'm not even mad about it. If you don't have what it is that I need, what I require, what I desire in my PMDD relationship, I'm not going to be mad because you're not giving it to me. You're not giving me what you don't have. It's like asking someone for $5 and they don't have $5. Why are you going to be mad at them? Why are you going to yell at them? Why are you going to curse them out? Why are you going to make them feel horrible about not giving you $5 when they genuinely do not have the $5 to give to you? Why not just let them go? Because they probably, guess what? A lot of times when you're asking your partner for something that they don't have, they feel bad about not having it. That's what I recognize. A lot of partners that I've had, they've tried to pretend that they're emotionally intelligent. They've tried to pretend that they could be vulnerable. They've tried to pretend that they have all these skills and all of these things that are needed to be in a relationship with me, but they don't have them. And the more that they pretended, they resented because it was the opposite of who they really are. And they couldn't keep up the facade any longer. So they were becoming a different version of themselves, not authentically, not like I authentically want to work on myself. It's like, let me just pretend and see if that makes her happy. So they would pretend. And so a lot of times I'd be like, oh, wow, they're emotionally intelligent or they're vulnerable or they're this. And they really weren't because you can't keep up a facade, but for so long. And then I was like, wait a minute, they're not really this person that they're portraying that they are. Why am I mad at that? I was never mad at that. I was disappointed because I was kind of like, dang, I really liked them. I really loved them. I really wish that they would have been able to give me the things that, I desired and deserve. I really, really wish that, but they don't have it. And so I'm going to let them go. There's a poem that I wrote that was based off of something that I saw. I think I saw it on TikTok. It was like a poet. I think I talked about it on a previous episode. And she was like, I think I'm going to let you go. And then it just goes into whatever. And I've had to do that. Has it been painful? Yes. It hurts my feelings to let people go that I feel like, because I'm a visionary, I will vision our whole life together. And I'll be like, oh, we're going to do this together. We're going to travel. We're going to blah, blah, blah. And when I get to the point where it's like, I have to get into reality, not into fantasy land, and be like, wow, none of that's going to happen. It hurts, but it also, there's a sense of peace after I do it, because I'm brave enough to let them go, to live a life that is in alignment with what it is that they have to provide for someone else. Because I strongly believe that the individuals that I have let go have been great partners or will be great partners for someone else. And maybe or at a different time. And I'm pretty sure the people that have let me go feel the same way. Like, you're a great person. They always give the speech, you're a great person, blah, blah. I don't need to hear, like, I know I'm a great person, like, and not in an egotistical way, but I don't need you to soften the blow, because just the fact that the relationship is ending, it's kind of like saying all these nice things when the relationship is ending in order for you to not feel pain. If you were ever connected to them, if you ever envision a life with them, if you ever envision a future with them, it's going to hurt. And I don't avoid pain. I sit with it. And this is what I work with my private clients. I don't have you avoiding things. I don't have you being in la la land, pretending like things don't bother you and blah, blah. No, we work through it. Is it painful? Yes. But when you get to the other side, you're on the other side. It's not something that you've just been waiting. Like, here's what happens when you don't process pain. And I'll do another episode on that. When you don't process pain from these situations, from a trigger, from whatever, it's just going to be sitting there waiting for you. You're always going to have to process it. And so I would rather process it in the moment and get through it, get over it, have a good cry, move my body, work it out of my body, work it out of my mind, and then make peace with it. And if that's something, if you're in that place where you have broken up, or you feel like you're about to break up, or you just need support in that specific area, or you need clarity on where you really are, and this episode really resonated with you, go to inlovewithpmdd.com, get those counseling sessions, go to the link in my bio. And until next time, we got this. I love you. I hope these tools help you and your PMDD partner. If you have not enrolled to get the course, My Partner Has PMDD, now what? Then you want to make sure that you are one of the first 12 individuals that gets the course for the month of December to get that complimentary private session with me. And then after that, it'll go back to regular price without the private sessions. But what this course is going to do for you is give your partner all of the tools that they need on how to be a supportive PMDD partner. What does that look like? I always say that your partner doesn't need more information. They need more implementation. They need more transformational tools. And this is the program for you. So I'm looking forward to you getting those tools in the program. And until next episode, we got this.